will trigger collective punishment, which is a war crime in terms of war, but it is also immoral and illogical, but it is absolutely what they want to do. They want to be able to penalize and punish people who had nothing to do with it simply because, well, that's what they want to do anyway. They're not just so angry about the murder of Charlie Kirk. They want to harm us anyway. They want to constrict our rights, our freedoms, our ability to vote, our ability to be free. And even some are calling for our lives to be taken, calling for public executions.
We took the same oath to defend our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. These leftists are our enemies. Give or take 3 years left. If you call for a civil war, the conservative veterans in this country will take our country back from the evil left. We use words, they use bullets. Mr. President, I implore you, call for a civil war. Call for a civil war and let us do our thing. Let us go door to door, street by street, and clean this country.
Murdered. So here's my message to the President of the United States. I'm not going to say that I speak for everybody else or anybody else. But as a taxpaying citizen of this country who has spent years being attacked by the vile left, we want true justice. So give us the green light or handle it yourself with the military. Each and every one of them. All of them. We want public executions because you see it hasn't been freedom for all in this country over the last 5+ years.
They want to harm us anyway. They want to constrict our rights, our freedoms, our ability to vote, our ability to be free. And even some are calling for our lives to be taken, calling for public executions. Let's listen to more from Dr. Freddie Haynes III.
A white Christian gets killed, murdered, not assassinated. We're going to tell the whole truth today. Martin King got assassinated. Malcolm X got assassinated. Medgar X got assassinated. Don't compare Kirk to King. Ain't no such comparison now.
No, there is no comparison of Charlie Kirk to Dr. King. That's for sure. In fact, Charlie Kirk despised Dr. King. And later in his life, he made it his life's purpose to dethrone Dr. King from his hallowed position in the moral pantheon, not only of the United States of America, but across the globe.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
In the moral pantheon, not only of the United States of America, but across the globe, that is the position that Dr. King's assassination placed him. Not only his assassination, let me correct myself, Dr. King's life's work. Dr. King received the Nobel Peace Prize during his lifetime because he worked for peace. Charlie Kirk worked to divide this nation along the lines of them versus us, powerful versus powerless. And so there is no comparison between Charlie Kirk and Dr. King, that is for sure. But if you would allow me to disagree with my esteemed colleague in the faith, Dr. Freddie Haynes III, and with many of you who have already left comments who don't like that we call it an assassination. But by the definition, the glossary term of assassination, it is the killing, the sudden killing or planned killing of a political figure for political reasons. That's an assassination. And I understand that a lot of people don't want to apply that to it because the word and the term itself, assassination, gives a veneer of legitimacy or validation or martyrdom, but that's not necessarily required. The word itself is a structural word. It captures an act, a political act of violence. It does not itself. See, what it is we're so used to the good people in our country and on our planet being assassinated. I think that's what it is. Ultimately, we are so used to the quote unquote good people being assassinated that we have only ever associated it with the deaths of actually good people fighting for good causes. That was not Charlie Kirk, and that's why so many people do not want to apply that word to Charlie Kirk. But it was an assassination by the definitional sense of the word, a politically targeted killing of a public figure. But unlike the assassinations of Gandhi or Dr. King or Malcolm X, it does not canonize Charlie Kirk's cause with martyrdom. It doesn't sanctify him, or it does not give him historical legitimacy. It just simply marks the violence of the act, and it does not retroactively sanctify his life. As the preacher said, how you die does not redeem how you live.
Let me hasten to say, I'm anti-political violence. Kirk should still be alive. I don't agree with with anything Kirk said. What Kirk said was dangerous. What Kirk said was racist, rooted in white supremacy, nasty, and hate-filled. But he still should be alive. He still should be playing with his kids. He still should be experiencing the love with his wife. He still should be experiencing life as he saw it. I don't want anybody, please hear me well, anybody to be victimized by political violence, but I'm going to keep it a buck.
Yeah, that part. And we must be able to hold that dichotomy. Again, I'm not going to moralize or grandstand or lecture people who have been celebrating. I said in my last video, and I mean it, your morality is your choice. As for me and my house, we would never celebrate the assassination or the murder of anyone. Not just out of a sense of morality. The thing I will say again that I said in the last video, as a matter of strategy, when you're dealing with people who are rabidly desirous of harm, it's like October 7th. One of my biggest issues was that whoever planned October 7th from the Hamas equation literally handed into the hands of the most evil regime on the face of the planet the moral high ground that they needed to kill almost 700,000 people as of the last count. And when you consider how Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance have made it clear, we'll play some of their clips. I'll do another video. It'll be in this episode. They've made it clear, and along with most of MAGA on social media, they have made it clear that they want to punish everybody. Now, we understand that they are going to try to do that anyway. But I would simply advise everyone on our side of the equation, it's too late now. It's already done. The die is cast, but never put into the hands of your rivals the moral high ground, either through political violence or through the celebration of political violence. We can do both. We can simultaneously say Charlie Kirk should still be alive, abhor the violence, but Charlie Kirk was not a good man.
Because one of the things that gets me, and we got some politicians in here, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to come for you if you ever say this. If you ever say, America, we better than this. You lying. You lying. We ain't better than this. America was born in political violence. America committed political violence during the slave trade. America committed political violence when black bodies hung as strange fruit on southern trees. America committed political violence against the Irish, against the Italians before they became white. America committed political violence when America passed Jim and Jane Crow laws. What do you think political violence was? Political violence when they bombed and massacred Black Wall Street, when they massacred Rosewood, when they massacred whites and blacks in Wilmington, North Carolina. Well, what do you think political violence is? Martin being killed, that's political violence. John Kennedy being killed, political violence. Robert Kennedy being killed, political violence. And you gonna say we better than this? No, you can't fix what you won't face until you look in the mirror and say this is a violent country that has done violence to too many people. We will never get our act together. It's time to repent, because if my people called by my name humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal the land.
Woo! You preaching?
Come on, we better than this. No, we ain't. We ain't better than this. We ain't better than this. But to get better, you got to acknowledge what's wrong.
Okay. Well then. Even when Benjamin isn't here in person, I'm still getting hype. Oh man. That was a good video. My dude, Benjamin Dixon, putting out the real stuff. What's happening, Emily? What's up, Sarah? What's going on, guys? What's up, everybody over on my channel as well? What's going on, Mike? What's going on, Swifty? How's everybody doing tonight? We got a bit to talk about. And this one's actually a bit personal for me. And, you know, as always, we tend to follow each other's shows with like content. I've said before, you know, there's a lot going on in this country right now that's happening while Charlie Kirk, all the talk about is the suspect and all the talk about his political assassination, all that stuff happened. Still a lot going on. And, you know, personally, for me, when I first started doing YouTube content, I wasn't a very political person. It was about 4 years ago. I think 3 years ago I started doing the channel. And I used to watch videos of Trump supporters being interviewed by Jordan Klepper. And my whole content was surrounded around the fact that I wasn't a fan of any politicians. And I thought it's just crazy to watch these people say this insane stuff about, you know, robots and vaccines and rings under pizza places and just like, and if you go and look at my older content, I'm sure you'll see it. You'll see that, like, my evolution as I become a little more educated in politics as I go. But for the most part, it's always been the same. And that is that I think it's really important to fight back against authoritarianism, against tyranny, against mass psychosis by making fun of it. There's an Aldous Huxley, or I'm sorry, not Aldous Huxley, George Orwell quote that's going around right now that says, I believe it's something like every tiny joke is, or every joke is a tiny revolution. And as you guys can tell, you know, big fan of 1984, big fan of Brave New World, big fan of Fahrenheit 451 and all of that, you know, prophetic dystopian literature that has been trying to warn us about the types of things that we're currently going through now. And something that's pretty prevalent in almost all of these, even Brave New World. In many ways, Brave New World is a much different take on dystopian society, dystopia through, gratification and reward, and, taking away creativity and many of the things that make us human. But all of it has the same thing in common, and that is, to control a populace, you have to control the people that are speaking to the populace. And currently what this administration is doing, and it's just like we've seen multiple times over and over again, Donald Trump says Colbert should be gone. Then Colbert doesn't get renewed, and people say, well, maybe that's not so much Donald Trump, because, Colbert was going to be, he's not making any money. His show was not making money. Everybody kind of looks around at each other and goes, well, maybe that's what it was. That sounds like it could be true. And then Donald Trump says, you know what? I don't like that CBS said this about me. And then all of a sudden, CBS gives Donald Trump a bunch of money, and CBS decides that it's not going to report on a bunch of stuff. And then Donald Trump says, maybe Jimmy Kimmel will be next. Maybe even Fallon. And everybody goes, he's just joking. He can't do that. And then what happened? Jimmy Kimmel has now been suspended. Jimmy Kimmel's show is not being aired. Not because Jimmy Kimmel made some kind of crazy statement about, euthanizing homeless people. No, just because he said that the shooter was a lot like the people that he shot. He didn't make a crazy statement. He didn't make a call to violence. He didn't even make a joke that crossed the line into dark humor. He literally just said, hate breeds hate, and that there's consequences for that. And now Jimmy Kimmel is suspended. This is dear to my heart because I think about what I do as being probably the softest way that you can do this. To sit up here, to make jokes, to mock absurdity, to say, you shouldn't want to be a part of this because this is the death of intellectualism. This is the death of etiquette in our society. In the hopes that people will hear that and laugh and at the same time say, you know what? It's kind of true. And to see Jimmy Kimmel, I'm not even a fan. I'm not a guy that watches Jimmy Kimmel. I don't watch Stephen Colbert. I'm more of a John Oliver guy. But it's ironic. It's hyper ironic that a person that literally tweeted and talked about free speech, even hate speech, needing to be legal, is now being used by the Trump administration to silence people. And don't get me wrong. I don't think that Donald Trump is silencing people because he liked Charlie Kirk. I think he liked what Charlie Kirk did for him. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that Donald Trump is silencing people out of respect for Charlie Kirk. I think that Donald Trump is silencing people because he now has the ability to do so, because much like what Benjamin Dixon just said, he's been awarded the high ground. And because of that now, you have, before I got on here, I was watching some of the Unfuck America debates that are going on. And there's a Republican gentleman debating one of the Unfuck America people. And he said, I just want this country to come together. And the response was something along the lines of, well, the left has been making the attempt to come together for a long time. And he goes, no, they haven't. He goes, okay. Well, go ahead and tell me one time in the past 4 years that somebody on the left has said something and hasn't faced repercussions from the people on the left. And of course, the guy couldn't say anything. He goes, but I can tell you right now that there are literal people in office, the leaders, the president of the United States, that are either calling for political violence or inferring that political violence is okay, or calling for civil war, and not with jokes, not to be funny. And it's disturbing. It's sad to watch, and it's something that has driven me nuts about the left for the entire time that I've done politics. And I don't want people to get this wrong, because I also love this about the left. And that is, when somebody on the left says something that's out of pocket, generally the people around them turn to them and say, hey, don't do that. In fact, oftentimes, they are so caught up in the emotion of wanting to not give that moral high ground to the other person that they'll even virtue signal and say, he's not like us. They're not like us. Don't judge us based off of their actions. And that's just not something you'll ever see on the right. When Kimmel came out and said they should euthanize homeless people, he came out and apologized, and they moved on with their day. When Jimmy Kimmel says that the Charlie Kirk murder was just like MAGA, it doesn't matter if he apologizes or not. He's done. Because that's two things. That is both what MAGA does, what the right wing does to the left by calling out their flaws, their fractures, and it's also what the left does to the left. And it's really sad, because this is one of the few places that I think that me and some people in MAGA actually agreed. And that is, you should be able to make jokes. I do think you can make jokes about pretty much anybody. I think you can make jokes about black people, white people, Mexicans, Latinos, straight people, trans people. They just have to be funny. They can't be just to be hateful. They can't be just to be mean. They have to be funny. And I do think that at one point or another, because I lean left and I criticize the left as well, that there were times where people definitely over-exaggerated whether or not a joke was mean or hateful. And now we've gotten to this place in society where it turns out comedy might actually end up being illegal. Which is fucking hilarious, considering that like a month ago, a K-hold up fucking Elon Musk with a pair of glasses inside, sunglasses inside, wearing fucking dark meme fucking MAGA merchandise with a chainsaw, loudly exclaimed on stage, "It's like Legalize comedy." Who would have thought we would have been here? So, I want to talk about a couple things. Because this is just silencing comedians. This is just silencing the media. This is just a setup for Donald Trump, just like what happened when pickleballs got beat up, okay, by the 15-year-old girl. It's just an opportunity to Donald Trump to consolidate more power, to take away more freedom of speech. And here, I'll say this. I'll be completely fucking fair. I have seen people on the right showing that they are concerned about Donald Trump taking away freedom of speech. And you know why? Because they're afraid they're next. And they should be. Excuse me. Sparkling water. And they should be. Because they are next. Because that's how dictatorships work. They don't stop with the people they don't like. They also stop with the people that annoy them. Or they don't stop with people that they don't like. They also go after the people that annoy them. So I wanted to start actually by talking about a little bit of the fallout from this. And that is that now a person that Donald Trump had talked about, Jimmy Fallon, has now abruptly dropped out of an event following Kimmel's suspension. So this is the other guy that Donald Trump has said, like, I want him gone too. This is another person that Donald Trump would love to see gone. Jimmy Fallon has pulled out of a festival shortly before he was set to make a public appearance, organizers confirmed. The NBC late-night host was expected to appear on a New York conference panel at the Fast Company Innovation Festival on Thursday morning. However, organizers emailed attendees just 30 minutes before the event was set to start to inform them that Fallon had pulled out. There's a joke to be made there. There is a joke to be made there. You guys make it. Unfortunately, Jimmy Fallon is no longer able to attend today's session, the festival said in a statement. Why it matters. The move comes just hours after ABC announced that it was suspending Jimmy Kimmel's show in the wake of his comments about Charlie Kirk. Kirk, a conservative political activist and co-founder of Turning Point USA, was fatally shot on September 10th while speaking at a Utah Valley University. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. That's what Kimmel said. Show me the lie. Show me the lie. Like, there is a real legit thing that we should be talking about right here. And it's not whether or not the shooter was left or right. I'm going to make everybody mad. It's about whether or not we have failed young people. It's about whether as parents we are spending way too much time bitching and complaining and fighting online and being on social media and not enough time paying attention to what our young people are doing. It's about how we failed them by showing disinterest in the things that they like and by failing to give them any hope by allowing things like climate change to go undealt with, the economy to go undealt with, to further push ourselves more and more into an atmosphere that is dominated by polarization and by the monetization of the media and everything about our lives. There is something that we could all be talking about when it comes to the person who took Charlie Kirk's life, and we could all be agreeing on. And the same thing goes with Thomas Crooks, the man who shot at Donald Trump and grazed his ear. There are some very real similarities in that those young men seem to have been disillusioned, to have become nihilistic, because there's no hope for young people, because there's no chance for them to buy homes, there's no job market for them to get careers, there's no parents for them to listen to learn from, and to feel loved by. And sometimes, in some cases, that's not all the parents' fault. Because in this society, to even stay ahead, just to be able to pay your rent, pay your utilities, and put food on the table, the mother has to work 40 hours a week, the father has to work 40 hours a week, and then they have to monetize their hobbies just to be able to pay the rent. And that's no excuse, by the way. If you're a parent and that's your excuse, I'm telling you right now, pay attention to your children. Help your children. Love your children. Lead your children. Because the last thing you want to do is find out that they're on the news for taking somebody's life, even if it was somebody you didn't like. That's something that we all could be talking about right now. But instead, we're watching Jimmy Kimmel get suspended for the lightest amount of criticism that I have ever heard in my entire goddamn life. Tyler Robinson, 22, was taken into custody in connection with a killing. Utah Governor Spencer Cox, who's a fucking biased piece of human garbage, said Robinson's political ideology was very different from that of his conservative family during a Meet the Press appearance on Sunday. Oh, you don't say. Oh, you don't say. There clearly was a leftist ideology with this assassin, Cox said, which, once again, there is no clear evidence of anything. At this point, I watch Republican media as well. There are tons of conservatives right now that are like, this shit looks like it's fake. There are tons of conservatives right now that are saying things like, I'm not sure that's the dude who did it. Those messages look like they're fake. There ain't no 22-year-old that talks like that. Right now, the chance that there's any real solid evidence as to anything to do with this young man is probably about 10 to 15%, because even the fucking conservatives are going, there seems like there's something sus about this. And they're right. And that could be as simple as the fact that many in the media right now don't know what the fuck they're talking about and are literally reporting off of Facebook memes. This is the problem. And this is why you're not going to heal this divide by silencing people like Jimmy Kimmel. Because if there's anybody out there that's doing this with the soft touch, with the ability to reach across to other people and say, can't we just find the funny? Can't we find the humor in this? It is people like Jimmy Kimmel. And like I said, I'm no stan. I don't watch the guy's shit all the time. I'm just saying it's wrong. Kimmel also played a clip of President Donald Trump being asked how he had been holding up since the killing, to which Trump responds, "I think very good," before beginning to talk about his plans for the new White House ballroom. And I'm sure you guys have all seen that clip. Because Donald Trump don't care about Charlie Kirk. Never did. He was probably fucking happy to hear that the dude got silenced, because the dude literally, 2 days before that said that, yeah, maybe we should just release the Epstein files so people can see him. I'm sure Donald Trump is a lot less sad about this than all of the people out there getting people fired over this shit. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, Kimmel said. And ain't that the goddamn truth? Fallon had been scheduled to appear at Thursday's event for a panel called Staying on Brand, a nod to the talk show host's new unscripted reality series On Brand. Fallon hosts The Tonight Show, which remains on the air following the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live and the cancellation of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. In an interview with conservative podcaster Benny Johnson on Wednesday, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, a Trump ally and appointee, called Kimmel's comments some of the sickest conduct possible. The victimhood is just through the roof right now. The idea that you're literally watching these people take what is a tragedy. I'm no fan of Charlie Kirk's, but I will stand on the foundation that children don't deserve to grow up in a home where one of their parents had their life taken. Like I've said this before, a lot of times, I have friends that are willing to make fun of people's children. I have, known many people on YouTube that are willing to do it, but I draw my line at children. I'm not a person that's willing to go in on somebody because I dislike them I'm gonna make fun of the children. It's just not my style. To each their own. What happened was bad, was wrong. Political violence is wrong. But what Jimmy Kimmel said, if you're trying to over-exaggerate that and turn it into something, there is nothing. That was the softest fucking joke I've ever heard in my life. And if that got to you, then you're incredibly thin-skinned and you're everything that you claim the left was. And that doesn't really surprise me because that's par for the course. Nexstar Media Group, the owner of several ABC affiliate stations, then announced it would stop airing the show for the foreseeable future over Kimmel's remarks. Nexstar is attempting to complete a merger with Tegna, which requires FCC approval. No way. Stephen Colbert announced in July that his show is being canceled and would end in May 2026. CBS said the show is being canceled for financial reasons. The announcement came after Colbert criticized Paramount over its $16 million settlement with Donald Trump. What has the Trump administration said about Jimmy Fallon? Trump referenced Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers in a Truth Social post on Wednesday following the suspension of Kimmel's show. Great news for Americans. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel had zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert. If that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC, Trump wrote. This is what I'm saying. And this is why I think this is important. And this is why I wanted to talk about this. As I said, I want to talk about important things. I don't want to talk about bullshit. I don't want to talk about clickbait. I don't want to talk about what's hip, what's hot, what's hype. I want to talk about things that matter. And why this matters. Let me tell you why this matters. Because this is a thing that we have seen over and over and over again, where Donald Trump does something or says something, and people go, you're overreacting. And when I say people, I don't just mean conservatives. I also mean Democrats. I mean centrists. I mean independents. Oh, you're just overreacting. You're seeing, I thought they were the conspiracy theorists. Now you're a conspiracy theorist? This is a pattern. Donald Trump says things, he gets people to do things, and then people go, well, you know, you had the right to do it. Or even like I said, on the left, how many people said when Colbert got canceled, well, it was just a canceling of his contract. Well, his show was in the dumps. And I would give you that if that was just one time. But this is not new. We have seen these media organizations now capitulate to Trump over and over and over again. And oftentimes the common theme is that they're going through a merger. Or they're afraid that they're going to lose viewership. Because media is for money. Even alternative media is for money. I told you guys before, the reason I say what I say, and I don't care whether people like what I say or not, is because I don't get money from this. I don't make money off of YouTube. I have a job. And that job pays my bills. And the day that I find myself up here on this channel or on my channel saying things to people just to make money is the day I go get another job. Because that's not what I'm here for. It's what I hate about our society. It's what I hate about our media. And it's what we all used to agree on, was that the news media was full of shit, that they lied to us, that if it bleeds, it leads, and that's all that they care about is making the almighty dollar and being dishonest to people. The more that we see people silenced, the further it's going to go. And eventually, it's going to find itself at MAGA's doorstep. And eventually, you are going to see the very things that MAGA supporters used to warn me about Joe Biden. MAGA supporters used to tell me all the time, Joe Biden is going to take away our free speech. Look what's going on in the UK. They're arresting people over social media posts. That's what's about to happen. They were right, actually. Have to give it to them. They were correct. It's just, it wasn't Joe Biden. It was the guy that they were electing. And this is, once again, a very common theme. So, I wanted to watch this. I haven't watched it yet. But I did want to watch this with you guys because I wanted to see a perspective from outside of the United States. So, the LBC is a British channel. So, let's go ahead and get this guy up here. And this is James O'Brien, and this is his thoughts on this happening. And I wanted to hear him talk about this. And like I said, I haven't listened to it. I want to hear what he has to say on this. Like I just said, I listen. There's a guy, his name's Heavy Duty Country, and I could play you clips for this guy. And if you didn't know he was a Republican, if you didn't know his opinions on transgenders and other things, and you only heard what he had to say about the Palestine-Israel conflict, you guys could probably be friends. It wouldn't be a long relationship. It would be until you guys stop talking about Palestine-Israel, and then that shit would be over. But I like hearing opinions that disagree with mine, because I both want to be challenged on the things I believe, and I also want to know information as far as how other people think about things. Now, I believe that James O'Brien is a more liberal person, but I wanted to see something from outside of the country to see if how I feel about this is how others feel about this.
Charlie Kirk, upon whom I have had something of a crash course in recent days, set up an organisation or set up a scheme called Professor Watch. Professor Watch, which was literally designed to encourage students to report members of the faculty at their academic institutions for well, I don't know for what, for unacceptable opinions. And yet they have co-opted the idea, these people have co-opted the idea that they have their free speech being threatened at the moment. I don't know, I apologise for bringing this to your attention almost, but one of the most ludicrous human beings ever to draw breath, a chap called Sebastian Gorka, who you may have had the misfortune of coming...
Oh, no. You know I put on that level too? Piers fucking Morgan. You want to know the guy that is probably the grossest fucking person on the internet right now? It's Piers Morgan. Because that dude is literally rage baiting an entire generation of human beings, and he is making it profitable. Like, I hate debate. I think it's disgusting because real debate, old school debate, was about trying to find a solution, the best solution to a conundrum. And what debate has been bastardized into because of capitalism, because of monetization, all you have to do is go watch one Piers Morgan episode. It is Jerry fucking Springer on steroids. It's disgusting, it's gross, and there's absolutely nothing that comes from it that's worth anything. But the Sebastian guy is definitely a close second.
He's even got a piece on the LBC website today claiming, making
Isn't
various
Sebastian
claims
British?
about the importance of free speech being protected. And yet Donald Trump's administration is trying to shut down free speech in universities, shut down free speech on the streets of the United States
I wonder if he knows that Gorka was part of Trump's administration.
of America, and now shut down free speech on television. Stephen Colbert's show's already gone, and now Jimmy Kimmel's show has been suspended. Would you like to know for what? I've got this thing, right? There's part of me that my internal dialogue on a morning like this is largely, why are we talking about this? Is it really...
Yeah. And that's what I said. Like, this is like the most painful thing about all of this is how stupid it is. Like, I'm a person that spends a lot of time thinking. I watched a video earlier today, and you guys should watch it too, and maybe I can get the link for it and put it in chat before I leave. But it was about morality and ethics, right? And it's about how many movies kind of show us these different scenarios and contexts where different types of ethics and morality are applicable, and how oftentimes just living with one set of ethics or one point of view on morality doesn't always get you through life. And that's the things that I like to think about. I saw a paper today on, quantum physics that was talking about, the potential of, changing the way that we look at gravity. Like, these are the things that I care about. I've learned, a ton in the last 2-3 weeks about how, the Federal Reserve borrows from itself and how the economy works, and, just adding more education to something that I already knew a lot about. This society has gotten to a point where it's absolutely ridiculous, the stupid shit that we end up talking about. And then the problem with that is that we have put in place in the highest level in our government, the person, a person that can't go a day without people hearing his fucking thoughts is the dumbest human being in this country. Like, this is, to me, the saddest part of this society, is that we would sell our children's future. We would sell the future of our friends and our family. We would sell our own future just so we can sit down and watch two dipshits yell at each other with no point, because we want to be entertained, because we lack purpose, because we have No idea why we're here. And then we look at our children and we wonder, why are they apathetic? Why are they nihilistic? Why would a young man that's 22 years old take the life of another human being and lose his life, lose his future? You only need to look as far as yourself. And if you look inwardly and say to yourself, like, I'm paying into this system, I'm funding it, you can only see that this is the death of intellectualism. That we all need to find time away. It's crazy that we're even talking about
such a
this.
big deal. And you might be listening to this thinking, why is James going in on an American employment issues on an American broadcaster? And the answer is, and I think I'm a little bit frightened of confronting this face on, the direction of traffic now is getting close to terrifying. This is what an American talk show host called Jimmy Kimmel has been suspended from his job for.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
Oh,
which
my
is something
God.
they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
I saw that clip of Trump. I meant to...
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy that is what this iteration of conservative believes is worth taking away his right to speak. Because this is, don't get me wrong, this is what they believe. These are people that used to say that they should be able to say whatever they want on Twitter. In fact, a guy went out and bought Twitter so that way they could do this. Literally so they can say, you know, whatever white supremacist thing they wish to say. They can say anything they want about trans people. They can call people names. They can, you know, make threats of violence. Like, people have over and over again now shared posts or or messages where they've shown that people have called them the N-word, threatened to sexually assault them, many different things. And all of those things are acceptable. But that was a bridge too far. You can't tell me that this is not just an opportunity that is being used. You can't tell me that Donald Trump gives two shits about Charlie Kirk, because he didn't, and he doesn't. Donald Trump only cares that right now, as our friend Benjamin Dixon said, somebody handed him the moral high ground, the chance to do what he's always wanted to do, and that is go after people that he does not like and take from them the only weapon they have against him. And that is the ability to reach millions of people and speak out against the injustices that he, on a day-to-day basis, makes a part of this administration's entire fucking goal.
Play it out last week, but I forgot. And it was quite extraordinary. While his movement were in a form of purdah, they were going through
Thanks, Bunko.
Incredibly public grief. His movement were doing that, and his key allies and supporters. He was given an opportunity to reflect upon what impact Charlie Kirk's murder had had on him. And he could...
Yeah, actually, I like what Jake said. Kimmel didn't mock Kirk there. We should be sure to be clear that he was hired. That would be funny. Fired for making fun of Trump. Yeah, 100%. Exactly. That's exactly what it is right there. he doesn't care about Charlie Kirk. That's the fucking insane thing about all this is like, once again, watching Trump supporters get gaslit by Donald Trump. It is literally like having it's like when your friend comes to you and tells you that something's going on in their relationship and you get like an idea about it, right? And you think, okay, well, maybe I've known their partner for 10 years. I didn't know this person was abusive. Never seemed like it. Instead, it's like if you had a GoPro on that person. It is like watching Trump and his relationship with Trump supporters is like having intimate knowledge of an abusive relationship. And I would call the cops, but they don't seem to care. It's like the 1950s all over again. It's like you tell the police that this person's being abused, and they're like, well, do they make him sandwiches when he wants them? Because that might be the problem. Also, by the way, this is how serial killers are created. Just so you guys know, there's a bunch of these serial killers that during the 50s watched their mother be abused by their father and became psychopaths because of that. So if that is anything to let you know about our future, just saying.
Really acknowledge it before asking the reporters to look over there at some trucks that were delivering some bricks. And that was a joke there from Jimmy Kimmel. I'm looking at the text messages being exchanged by the suspect in the case and his description of his father as having become very MAGA after the most recent election. And so
the poor British, they're like, but hold on. All of this seems true. Like, people outside the United States cannot fathom the amount of stupidity that is going on in this country right now. They just can't fathom it.
You could loosely describe with some confidence the family from which the suspect has come as a MAGA family. They're certainly very into guns and that kind of thing. Again, apart from that, we know next to nothing, and yet immediately Donald Trump was trying to claim that the killer was representative of what they call, in quotes, the left, whatever that means. It means to me, generally, people who think that we should have a slightly fairer distribution of wealth. Quite how that lends itself to murderous motivation, God only knows. Except, of course, it doesn't. It doesn't. And what you'll get now is people who've spent a couple of years pretending to care about free speech suddenly switching off that gene and either supporting or staying silent about that television presenter. Here's another one in the United States of America. Here's another television presenter speaking this week.
They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
The black dude's face. God damn it, I hate to laugh at that. But did you see that black dude's face? He said, yep. And then he was like, oh, shit, no. Look at him right now. He is not sure. That this individual is not sure, folks. He did not think that's where he was going with that. Watch this shit.
We're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something.
He said, yep. Fuck. Fuck. That's how fucking dumb this shit has gotten. The dude that was just saying something that's fucking completely bombastic and hyperbolic, just to address what he just said. The percentage of people that are on the streets that are mentally unhealthy is very high. The main reason that you have issues with people being homeless and staying homeless is oftentimes because of something that, if there were good mental health facilities, if there were ways of reaching out and helping these people through our taxes, funding certain programs and such. And that's what he's talking about. Well, they're giving them money, they're doing this. There's actually quite a few homeless people that receive checks that never go and pick them up because they're not in a place where they understand the reality of their position and even the help that's being given to them. The only reason they have that help is because of family members that have tried to help them. This idea that, you know, being homeless is they're choosing to do this. A lot of them have addiction problems. Addiction is an illness, and it does make mental illness even worse. I mean, look at MAGA. Alcohol, drugs, and conspiracy theories just don't really mix. And just to put that into perspective, this guy here is making a argument that lacks humanity and empathy, and then the dude next to him straight up makes him go, "What was that, bro?" One more time. Let's just see that face one more time.
Take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill
Brian, why?
He said, but why? What?
And no one's shocked. No one even draws breath. Let's euthanize homeless people, says a presenter on Fox News.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
Involuntary lethal injection. So they're in real
Fuck
time.
these people, man.
On Fox News, a man called Brian Kilmeade, not joking. Let me make that absolutely clear. Not joking.
Not joking.
Even claiming to be joking. In all seriousness, suggests killing homeless people. Involuntary lethal injection.
Insane.
He subsequently apologized. But he wasn't joking. So I don't know what he's apologized for. Maybe his free speech is under threat. And then Jimmy Kimmel, who we will listen to again, has been suspended from his job for this.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes, that's right. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
So the way it happened...
Yep. He didn't get fired for making fun of Charlie Kirk. He got fired for making fun of Donald Trump. And that is important. That is important to say. So thank you for saying that. Donald Trump isn't mad that people made fun of Charlie Kirk. Donald Trump is mad that they made fun of Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't care about Charlie Kirk. And it's insanity. It's like Dodgeball. Do you guys remember Dodgeball? Do you remember Ben Stiller's character? I think his name was something White. And it's the part where it's like, no one makes me bleed my own blood. Donald Trump is like, no one uses my own words to make fun of me. Like, if you are watching this shit and you are not understanding how important it is for people to be able to get up on TV and make jokes and to say what they think without having the President of the United States lobby to have these people taken off the air. If you don't understand how important that is, let me just say this. Let me put it this way. I am a very left-leaning person. I believe in empathy. I believe taking care of my fellow human beings. I believe that raising up the people around me results in greater happiness for all of us, and the greater happiness of the community is oftentimes more important than the individual. And I will say that I support people's right to the freedom of speech to say whatever hateful shit that they want about me. They can joke, they can laugh, they can say mean things, they can talk shit. I like to talk shit, so that's actually the top. And even when people on the left were calling out people on the right for certain shit that they said, I still said, I'm fine with it. That's how much I stand on business on this topic. When it happens to me, I stand on that. When it happens to people that I like, that I appreciate, I stand on that. But the thing about that, and this is the problem that I was talking about at the beginning of this, is oftentimes people on the left do indeed believe the things that they say, do indeed believe in the values that they express. And we are quickly realizing that people on the right do not. They don't have values. They don't want to have agency. They want to give away all of the responsibility and accountability for their actions to somebody else, that somebody else being Donald Trump. And if he chooses to do things that in the past they have said were morally incorrect, they're okay with that. And that should actually scare you. Because if there's one thing that you thought that you could believe, it was that when somebody said something and they said it loud enough and they said it with enough confidence that you thought that well, they might be a piece of shit human being, but they do believe that. That's where they stand on that issue. They are currently being controlled by a man who is possibly being affected by dementia or Alzheimer's, that wakes up every single morning, watches Fox News, and decides what he's going to do as his day based off of how mad somebody made him. And that makes him a fucking wild card. And I've said this before. People do make mistakes when they say that Donald Trump is Hitler. Donald Trump isn't Hitler. Donald Trump doesn't have a plan. Hitler had a plan. It was a fucking horrific plan. He was a shitty person. But actually, Donald Trump's scarier because he's got a whole legion of people that every day when he wakes up and he doesn't have a plan and he just decides what he wants to be mad about that day, those people are going to go right along with him, and you never know what the fuck it's going to be.
Was that a couple of distributors, Nexstar and Sinclair, Nexstar most obviously, essentially said they would no longer broadcast the Jimmy Kimmel show on their stations, and that is where the pressure is applied from. I think they are in the business of, or in the process of doing a deal that would need approval from a Donald Trump appointee. So clearly it has struck them or been made clear to them that the president is unhappy with having his own words played out on the television, having his own answer to a question.
Insane.
This is where my conviction that this is all rather more serious than a television presenter losing their job. A president essentially getting someone fired, not for saying things about the president, essentially, but for showing people footage of the president. That's the point, right? It's not, I mean, you know, you can ask for homeless people to be killed. Okay, keep your job. Not even draw.
Don't even bat an eyelash
in a Fox News studio.
Jesus.
The Fox News is essentially the media wing of the MAGA movement, despite some brief wobbles. And you can show your audience footage of Donald Trump responding in an extraordinarily crass fashion to the murder of somebody widely portrayed as a close friend and ally of him. And that's what gets you into trouble. Showing the audience what Donald Trump is like appears to be what gets you into trouble. So what we have here is regime-adjacent oligarchs clamping down on free speech in the most extraordinary fashion. So I think, and then I worry, and thank you for indulging me today, but then I worry... I worry about media talking about media. I always have. I did the media show on Radio 4 yesterday. Media talking about media is something I love, but I am in the media. It's like one of my favourite subjects. And this feels bigger than that, right? This feels much bigger than that. Do you know what the Reichstag fire is? Sorry, I'm patronising you. Of course you do. And just in case you don't, one Dutch communist set fire to the Reichstag in Germany in the 1930s. And Adolf Hitler claimed that it was part of a much, much bigger movement, and he used this moment to essentially shut down liberties, to close down democracy, to cease freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And when Charlie Kirk was murdered, a few people mentioned that this could be a Reichstag fire moment, including...
But how crazy is this? That it's not even the first time. This is like the third or fourth Reichstag fire. And this is, this is what I'm going to say about this, is that at the end of the day, there is no point where you're going to convince MAGA Republicans that this is all just an attempt by Donald Trump to take away rights from people, because they know that. They don't care about that. They never believed in free speech for you. They believed in free speech for them. They never cared about not having the National Guard in their states. They only cared about the fact that they could have them in your states. They didn't care about anything other than control and their ability to be the person that's doing onto you what they were afraid that you would do unto them forever. In that conversation that I heard earlier, the guy asked him, name the most insane thing that Joe Biden did during his administration to Republicans. Like, what was the most vitriolic thing that Biden did? And the guy was like, well, like, I don't know, like, did he all ever call out political violence? And the guy said, yeah, actually, after Donald Trump was shot at by Thomas Crooks, actually Biden said, this is not okay. We shouldn't be doing this. Political violence against anybody is wrong. We can't logic our way out of this situation, and I do believe still, and I know you guys are going to give me a hard time for this, I do believe still, and this is because I've seen conservatives that are saying this, I do believe that there are people within the Republican Party that were not fans of Trump, that are party lines people that voted Republican because there's just no way they could vote for a communist Democrat. And I'm not saying they're any better, but I do see that there are people within their party that are like, this is weird. Like, why are we doing this? What is the point? And that was that gentleman in the debate, he was saying, like, oh, well, we just need a good leader, that'll bring us all together. You have to recognize at one point or another, there's always going to be a proportion of this country that's going to feel disenfranchised. That's what happens when you have people with such varied ideology. And what MAGA wants more than anything else is to never be that group in this country ever again, because they were for a really long time. We watched a video on the Tea Party from 16 years ago, and it was really eye-opening. Of course, there's lots of Obama with the Hitler mustache. There's Obama in a Nazi uniform. There's actually quite a few people talking a lot of shit about the Kennedys, which was ironic. And there was one woman who was there, and they were complaining about czars and how Obama was, there's Russians, ironic again, that these Russian czars and Obama's going to give them power, and he's just like Russia and all this stuff. And the young man that was there, who reminded me of the Good Liars, said, like czars started with Reagan and Bush, actually, and, here's the powers that they have, and here's the powers that they don't have. And then he said, this was a good conversation. Did you guys, take anything from this? And the lady looked at him, and she looked him dead off in his face, and she said, you know what I learned? I don't like Republicans either. And I was like, that woman is patient zero. That woman right there is patient fucking zero. Those people, even back then, were this very small group of people, and they never ever want to be that group on the outside again. And if that means giving away complete agency, giving away the very foundation of their moral beliefs to Donald Trump and letting him run with whatever and do whatever with it, they're happy to do so. It isn't a Reichstag fire. It's a fucking Reichstag inferno. And Donald Trump doesn't even need to use these situations anymore. He literally can just justify them with made up fake ass, not even close to reality situations. And these people will back him up on it because it is sunk cost fallacy, and they are afraid that one day they're going back to the obscurity that once kept them in the dark, where nobody could see them and cared about the crazy fucking shit that they believed. But guess what? That is where they belong. Because they used to be the fringe, and they still should be. Because this is an unhealthy relationship, and it doesn't end well. Anyways, I wanted to show you somebody that is attempting, because you know what you have right now? And this is something you hear a lot about. What you hear a lot about from these people is that the left is just as bad. The left is just as bad, man. And like I said, you even get some of the lefties involved. Some of the lefties are like, they're not wrong. Because lefties like to eat each other. Lefties love to disagree on one fucking thing and then just cause a fucking party-destroying fracture. We are the most masochistic fucking people on this planet. Are you pro-choice? Yeah, I'm pro-choice. You pro-Palestine? Yeah, I'm pro-Palestine. How do you feel about gun rights? Well, you know, I do like to be able to own my gun. Oh, fuck you! You're a fucking right-wing conservative! I watch you guys do this shit all the time. It's fucking hilarious. Also not funny. I like bring up random ass streamers that I'm just like, look at this thing, this smart thing this guy said. And it's like, you know, back in '84, actually, he had a drunk driving where he clipped a lady and she broke her leg, and he's probably the worst human being that's ever lived. You guys gotta fucking stop. Yeah. Because the reason I'm saying all this shit to you fuckers, okay? The reason I'm saying this is because I know one of you fucking bastards are about to, as soon as I pull this goddamn video up, you're going to be like, well, you know the problem with Bernie is... I do love that you guys are self-critical. I like that shit. You guys just take that shit too far. Nobody's perfect. We're all flawed. We all say dumb shit. We all make bad decisions. We all fucking have shitty opinions on certain things. You're not perfect, and neither am I. And I swear to God, the first one of you going on Bernie. If I could ban you, I can't. But I will. On my channel, I see one of you talk shit about Bernie, you're getting tossed. Just letting you guys know. I don't ban any, just so you guys know, I never ban anybody on my channel. Well, I do ban some people, but for certain specific reasons. But this is one of them. This is one of them right here. I told you guys, I say whatever I want. Matt one day is going to have to probably fire me. Love you, Matt. Love you, Matt. All right. So this video is about Bernie Sanders getting taken to the Trump country. Because like I said, all you hear about is how the left is just as bad. The right constantly says the left is the one creating the political violence. The left, like, generally it's just the left is actually worse. But if you corner one of these Trump supporters or Republicans with logic and facts, what they do is they go, well, actually, both sides. But this is what Bernie is doing. Bernie has been going around to predominantly red districts and holding fucking rallies to try to convince blue-collar, middle-class, working-class people that your enemy is not transgender people. Your enemy is not immigrants. Your enemy is the person who is literally bleeding you fucking dry and stealing everything that you have ever worked hard for, and that is oligarchs and fucking ultra-wealthy corporations. And I just want to watch this because this is the kind of shit that makes me happy.
Oh, that's my son. Hey, what's going on? They're having a video shot here, and it's about Bernie Sanders coming to town, and they know that we're all Trump supporters.
I wonder how they knew this guy was a Trump supporter. It boggles the mind. How do you know people are Trump supporters? It's so hard to tell. It's not like they wear merchandise or a uniform.
And they know that we're all Trump supporters.
What happens when you put Bernie Sanders in a room full of Trump voters?
I was shocked. I was like, oh.
Not as bad as they had told you, huh?
This is not how he's portrayed.
He's the most evil communist that has ever existed. He's worse than Stalin. He's worse than Lenin. He's worse than Marx. He's practically Satan. Bernie Sanders.
It's complicated. But then again, so is West Virginia.
This is West by God, Virginia.
A state that voted blue for almost 80 years straight until it flipped hard to become the second reddest state in the country.
This is a state where Donald Trump got 70%.
Really?
And it makes sense. I've told you guys before, like, I come from a white trash background. I'm very trailer park, right? Like, I grew up in all the worst places. And I can tell you, like, 10, 15 years ago, if you would have asked me, like, my opinions on Donald Trump, I probably been like, whatever. Like, I don't know. He's successful. Like, I mean, he's got a lot of money. Because the mentality for poor people, oftentimes, this is something you would hear. Is like you would say something bad about Trump. You would say Donald Trump is dumb. Donald Trump isn't the smartest human being. Something that you would hear me say is that he's the stupidest human being. And the reaction you would get from people in the trailer park, the reaction you get from very white trash people, is that you would hear, "How much money do you got?" Which is a fucking crazy argument to make. Because that means all the liberals are also smarter than you. Because for the most part, liberals are actually making a lot more money than you in the trailer park. I know that's hard to believe. But by your own logic, every Democrat pretty much is smarter than you are. But that would be the argument. It's when you talk about West Virginia, 70% of it going to Trump, it does make sense if you come from the same background as I do. Because those people look at people that are successful as being people that are intelligent, because we conflate monetary value with being a successful human being, and that's crazy. It is, because if you think about it, it's actually the opposite of what it should be. What we should be thinking as people that live in trailer parks that are impoverished is that you should take care of each other. Because if there's something that you can understand coming from there, is what it is like to be there, to have empathy for people, compassion for people. But you actually learn the opposite. You actually learn, growing up in that situation, to instead hate compassion, hate empathy, because you feel like it's a weakness. For a long time, if you ask me, do you think people should get social safety nets? Do you think that people should, be able to get this or get that from the government? I probably would have told you no. And the reason that I would have told you that was because I would have fallen for the same rhetoric that many of these people fall for. And that is, well, I did it. I got out of there. I'm successful now. I've accomplished what I have. And that is completely disregarding that the way that I got out of there was through social safety nets, through the welfare system, through food stamps, through homeless shelters. And it took having good people in my life, my wife, people like my wife, challenging me on my viewpoints to get me to a place where I could say, I have pretty bad opinions on a lot of subjects. I like to read. I like to learn. Maybe I should take advantage of that. And maybe I should become a better educated, less ignorant person that can make better decisions that could help other people, which in turn could make me a happier person. And that's what we see with a place like West Virginia.
It's easy to assume that West Virginia will be red forever, but I'm not so sure. I live here, and I talk to a lot of Trump voters about floods that leveled their homes, power bills that climb every year, and you'd be surprised how many of them sound like Bernie Sanders.
The billionaires,
right? It's fucking crazy.
They're trying to give all the billionaires.
By the way, in 2016, if you had asked me my opinion of Bernie Sanders, it would have been a really bad opinion. Oh, you can't pay for that. Who's going to pay for all that? I probably spoke in a very country accent at that time. I literally, I was part of the problem.
And rich people breaks, that's the opposite of what you should be doing.
So when I heard that Bernie was rolling through, I wanted to know, can a Democratic socialist from Vermont, who's not even running for president, connect in the heart of Trump country?
All right, where should I sit? I'm in the middle here.
And what would it mean for the rest of the country if he did?
You started with Trump, and then now your whole volunteer.
A whole volunteer for Bernie Sanders. He's just ultra liberal. He's a socialist.
I'm sorry to get everybody in trouble here.
I like that too. He says he's a socialist, but here's the thing: is that should people need to take the power from that word. There is nothing wrong with saying the word socialist. It is a word that embodies empathy. It is a word that takes into account the needs of others. It is a word that says that ultra-wealthy oligarchs shouldn't be able to take advantage of working class people. The demonization of a word like socialism is why we are in the predicament that we are in right now. So one of the things that I think that many people need to do, specifically like establishment Democrats, liberals, moderate Democrats, is when somebody says something like Bernie is a socialist, you shouldn't feel offended. You should actually be like, yes, he is. And you should listen to his ideas. And then you should tell me what you don't like about them.
I got to drive him around in my truck and find out.
Senator, welcome back to West Virginia. I know it's not your first time here.
No, it is not. I've been here several times, and I must tell you, I love the state, actually. It's a beautiful state, and I very much enjoy the people, very down-to-earth, working-class people. We campaigned here very vigorously.
Yeah.
In 2016.
Yes.
And we had to take on Hillary Clinton and Joe Manchin and the whole Democratic Party establishment.
Fuck Joe Manchin.
We went to places where politicians don't usually go, including McDowell County, down in the southern part of the state.
Bernie Sanders, who joins me now.
We are the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people as a right. What do you think? Do you think we should join other countries and guarantee health care as a right of all?
Yeah, I think every American citizen should have health care.
We ended up winning West Virginia. We won every single county in the state.
In 2016, Bernie didn't just win West Virginia. He shocked everybody who thought they had this place figured out.
We've won a big victory in West Virginia.
But that was just a Democratic primary in 2016. The real question is, how does Bernie's message land with Trump voters in 2025?
All right, I'm going to ask you a question, and then you come back to me. Sound good? All right, talk about health care here in Mingo County. What's the story? I see a woman right here. Please stand up.
Hi, my name is Sheila Rose, and I ended up back in Mingo County where I grew up after a chronic illness paralyzed me about 4 years ago. I've come a long way since then, but anytime I need to see a specialist, it's a 2-hour trip. Anytime I need a referral to a new specialist, it's a 6-month wait. There is no way to stay healthy in Mingo County.
Mingo County is in the southern coal fields of West Virginia.
And see, this is, something Benjamin Dixon said that actually, it rings true. And it comes from also the video I was watching earlier on morality and ethics, is that two things can be true. You can be mad at people for voting for Trump and still hope that those people have redeemable traits. I think that that's really important because I believe in balance, right? I believe in balance. I think that you can't lose yourself in fighting the fight that is necessary to fight. So you need to both understand that one thing is true, that you cannot be forgiving in the face of an authoritarian, but you can also hope that there are still people that have chosen to do what they have done out of ignorance, not out of hate, or that they are even hateful because they are ignorant. And something that Bernie brings out that I think really should give people hope is that he does show the human side of people. That woman, if I'm sure I sat down and talked to her, would probably say some things to me that I would find absolutely out of this fucking world. But it doesn't mean that I don't have empathy for her. That when she talks about her health care, when she talks about being paralyzed, does that still reach somewhere deep inside of me that feels for that? Like, of course it does. And this is the important distinction between people that are too soft and people that are too hard. You should be neither. What is it? It was Bruce Lee. You got to be like water. And you got to fit the situation for what it is. And that means when it's time to be mad and when it's time to express yourself in words that are not soft, you should be capable of doing that. And then at other times, when it is time to feel empathy and it is time to offer passive redemption to people and show that you can be the benevolent victor, then you should. And, I think that Bernie embodies that. And I think that I also need that path to redemption. Because in 2016, did I give a shit that Bernie won West Virginia? No, I didn't care. I was apathetic. I thought, fuck Hillary, fuck Trump, fuck Bernie, fuck all these people. They all suck. And part of that ignorance is why we are in the situation that we are today. But if you choose to say, okay, well, you had that opinion 8 years ago, 9 years ago, so you can pretty much go fuck yourself. I'm never going to support you or listen to any of your opinions or anything like that. Then okay, then that's your choice to do that, but you're literally putting yourself at a disadvantage. I've said before, I have about a 3.5-year shelf life on this side of the left because oftentimes I say things that people on the left don't like. But when it comes to values, fundamentally, we agree on 95% of the things that I believe and you believe. And you can choose to accept that at one point or another, or even now, that I was a flawed human being and am still a flawed human being. Or you can choose to believe that somewhere out there's a perfect person that represents every single one of your values, and you can be unhappy and you can lose for the rest of your lives. That's really where we're at right now. In the face of authoritarianism, we must find a way to come together and say, enough is fucking enough. We're not going to allow an authoritarian to do to us and to the people that we love the things that they are doing while we fight with each other. We are going to get the best possible person that we can for the time being into that office, and then we can go back to choking each other out on the sidewalk. Fuck, do it on YouTube and make some money off of it.
For generations, people here dug the coal that lit America's cities and kept the factories running. Now, The coal jobs are mostly gone. And what's left is poverty on a scale that rivals anywhere in the United States.
Like, you can have empathy
It's
for
crying
that.
at the grocery store, choosing between paying a bill or having food in the cabinet or the refrigerator. It affects your health, and then you don't have health care. Child care is ridiculously expensive, so it's very stressful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mingo County, like the rest of the state, went big for Donald Trump. So we followed up with some of his voters over biscuits and coffee to find out what that's all about.
I would have been nervous with a lot of different, like, celebrities or politicians, but you just seem so normal. Like, you're like obviously just like a normal human.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for the damn breakfast here. I'm starving.
We already ate.
I would love to take an inventory of just personal politics in the last couple of years. Can we start off with that?
You're gonna start with me.
Yeah, we'll start with you. Yeah.
I am independent, but I lean conservative. I not as much anymore as I used to, but I did vote for Trump. But I did post on my Facebook page, instead of I voted, I put I vomited because I didn't want to, but I didn't.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I voted Republican. I agree with some things of Trump, but most I do not right now.
Right.
I do not, no.
And John, what's that like for you?
Well, this is my first time voting because I was just turned 18 right before I was able to vote. So I voted for Trump, but I'm primarily a Democrat.
Oh, Jesus
Senator,
Christ.
who'd you vote for?
God damn it.
It wasn't Trump. Let me throw out a question.
Okay, I'm going to say this. It's not easy. I'm gonna say it's not easy to hold both truths at the same time in the face of some of the shit people do.
You are living, shock of all shocks, in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Do you feel that down here?
No. People are not surviving. We just had our food bank yesterday. We usually pack for 80 people. We served 102 yesterday. It is getting worse. Nobody's surviving right now.
My husband works at the hospital, and there are several ODs every single day.
Only a town of 6,000.
Yeah, we're not a big town.
Several ODs every day?
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you this, and you may not know the answer, nobody does, because again, this is not just the West Virginia issue. We got it terrible in Vermont. So why are people doing drugs?
In my thing that I see, because I work a lot in addiction, is it's mental health issues.
It's what?
Mental health issues. Lack of jobs. Lack of jobs. Poverty.
There we go. There we go. You're getting there. Good job. It's poverty. It's, yes, lack of support. Like, this is like, sweet Jesus. I really wish that our educational system had not failed so fucking tragically. Because it's almost like, just given enough time with the right influence around them, these people can eventually get to the answer that is correct. It's not because people are black. It's not because people are hateful. It's not because people are trans. It's because people that lack hope, that don't have resources, that don't know who they are or what they're supposed to be in this country, because there's literally no fucking lane for them, because they really just want you to get a fucking job in a factory, shut up, and die. Like, that's why people get addicted to drugs and alcohol. Because our parents did. Our parents' did. Because our parents, literally, my parents, I didn't have parents. My mom tried. My dad wasn't there. But they were abused. So they abused us. In this generation, my generation, I don't know if Generation X did it. We're a bunch of feral fucking people, to be honest. We're feral. But like maybe the millennials, the way I talk to my children, the way I do things with my children is so different than the way that my lack of parents would have done. Other people's parents that I saw did. In the way that I talk to my children. I don't tell my children, you shouldn't do drugs because it'll ruin your life. I tell them, if you do drugs, if you do drink alcohol at an early age, it is going to inhibit your ability to live the best possible life that you can. And I say to my kids, I go, I know you're going to look at me funny because you know I drink. You know I drink alcohol. And that's because it's an addiction. Because it has altered the chemistry in my brain to make me feel at times as though I must do it. That is something that you're best living without. And that's why right now, more kids than ever before don't drink alcohol. It's because they're better. They're getting better. But there's still a lot of work to go there. And the more that we get people out of poverty, the more that we get people out of abusive childhoods, the more support that we show to people, the more hope that we give to the young people by doing something about things like climate change and the job field and the economy and our relationships with other countries in this world. The more that we do something about all of these factors that MIT has literally said, if we don't do something about them by 2040, the entire fucking globe is going to collapse. If we do something about those things, you're going to see people using less drugs, using less alcohol, and having better mental health.
Lack of support for our veterans.
You finding many veterans doing drugs?
Oh, yes. And homeless.
And homeless.
And that irritates me. They stood up, they fought for our country, and we can't even afford to give them housing.
I always wondered, how did so many drugs get into this state? Do we have thoughts about that? How did so many? Yeah.
The doctor's pushing it.
There you
Talk
go.
about that. Yeah.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
My mother was an addict, and that's how she got addicted. Was she had a back injury? The doctor kept prescribing medicine. Eventually, that medicine didn't work.
And why does the doctor push it? Why does the doctor push it? It's not because he's a bad person. It is because capitalism. Because capitalism doesn't have humanity. It lacks this ability. It is an economic driver. It is an innovation driver. It is a competitive driver, but it does not have humanity. And if we want to get to the core of almost everything that happens in the society, whether it's disinformation, misinformation, drug addiction, or the way that our politicians vote against the very positive things that could be helping our society, whether it's climate change or economically, it all comes back to the fact that we are driven to be successful in a financial manner.
She had to start doing the harder stuff. Sadly, she passed away from a drug overdose. So, I mean, I understand the addiction part of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fight. And addiction just doesn't affect the person that's doing it. It affects the whole family, the whole area.
Solid.
Grow up around this kind of poverty long enough, and you start to lose faith in the political system that allowed it to happen. While Trump may put up huge numbers at the ballot box, nearly half of West Virginians don't even show up to vote at all. One of the highest non-voting rates in the country.
And I think the message is not complicated. People throughout the country, especially in rural areas, feel neglected. They are hurting financially. The Democratic Party, by and large, has kind of ignored those people, turned its back on them.
Not always, though, right?
Not always. Oh, no.
Especially here. I mean, it was 80 years of Democrats before it flipped.
You got it. This was one of the strongest Democratic states in the country. You're a strong union state, working class state. But I think what happened in West Virginia is a perfect example of the decline of the Democratic Party nationally.
There you go. And this is what I keep trying to say to people is the ability to hold two things at once. And that is, I do not believe that you should be eating each other. I do not believe that you guys should be raging on each other over disagreeing on one or two issues in the Democratic Party when you agree on 95% of what you believe in. However, I do think that you should be able to accept that things within the Democratic Party have failed, and that we should criticize those things, but that we should do it in the correct way. Many times you guys hear me criticize streamers on YouTube because every time that a left-wing streamer does something that either the left wing doesn't like or the right wing doesn't like, there are countless content creators on the left that make videos strictly for monetary reasons that criticize that person, that call out the shit they do. It isn't a conversation in which you're saying to somebody, hey, you know, you had this opinion or you did this thing and I disagree with it. It is bald-faced. It is right there out in front of everybody for them to see it, that you're doing it because you want to be more popular. You want more clicks and views. You want more money. You believe that you should be above everybody else because this other person that has the exact same values as you is occupying a space that you want. And we need to get away from that. We need to be able to say what you should be saying as a left-leaning person, and that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that if I can share my criticisms with a person or of the party and I can affect positive change, that is much better than self-enrichment. And it sometimes boggles my mind because there are so many things about the left that I disagree with that I want to talk about in a positive manner, that I want to talk about fixing, that I want to talk about solutions, that I want to talk about doing something for. When we talk about the reason that minorities have moved over to Trump, mostly I'm talking about Latinos because the black folk in our communities vote almost strictly fucking Democratic. But the main reason we see minorities move away from the Democratic Party is because the Democratic Party has made a lot of promises to minorities. The Democratic Party has made a lot of promises to trans people, to LGBT people. When I say trans, I mean everybody, LGBT people as a whole. And they have failed those promises. That should be spoken about. But we shouldn't be destroying ourselves in the process of trying to create positive change. Those two things don't work together. So what Bernie says there, like, it's true. The Democratic Party has declined, but the values still exist. And we should really try to figure out a way to do it better than the last generation of Democrats did.
To understand what happened to the Democratic Party in West Virginia, you need to understand the history of coal.
I'm a mine worker, generational mine worker.
Didn't look for it. Too busy taking profits.
All of us.
There was a time when coal companies controlled almost everything, and speaking out against the boss could get you beaten, evicted, or worse. But in 1921, all of that boiled over at the Battle of Blair Mountain, the largest labor uprising in U.S. history.
Way back when, in the 1920s, it wasn't quite so civil. But we got to respect those people, our ancestors.
The mine wars, our own history here is kept out of the textbooks, really. It's not in the popular imagination. I mean, that's been scrubbed because I think it's dangerous. You know, it's a threat. It's a threat to power.
Yeah.
Those early fights built the United Mine Workers of America and inspired a national labor movement that won the 8-hour day, paid vacations, and the weekend. And for decades, it was the Democratic Party who defended the unions.
And Joe Biden defended the unions, to be fucking honest. That isn't different. I think that, I mean, there's definitely been people that have not, unfortunately. But that just shows, like, if we can get together, like, these are the things that we can accomplish. If we choose to fight together, if the working class chooses to fight against the actual enemy in this fucking country, and that is upper class, ultra fucking wealthy, billionaire oligarchs and their fucking corporations.
So working class West Virginians kept that fire going at the ballot box. But coal burns fast, and eventually the flame died out.
Nobody thought about what to do after.
Within a few decades, we went from over 100,000 coal miners to around 10,000 today. And only a fraction of those still unionized. As the union shrank, so did the backbone of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So the Democrats shifted their strategy.
100%.
They left the coal towns and the hollers to chase corporate money and suburban votes someplace else.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2, 3.
Okay. That's enough internet. God damn it. Don't show me the collapse. I don't want to have to go through that pain again. Oh, fucking Chuck Schumer. Oh, fucking, hold on. Oh, right here. Oh, it hurts. Ah, I need more sparkling water. God damn, fucking Chuck. Fuck! God damn, I'm trying not to be mad. Ah! This is why I need my fucking punching bag. Okay, all right, we're gonna get through this. Gritting my teeth. Okay.
Moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and you can repeat that in Ohio,
I am going to
Illinois,
fucking lose
and
it.
Wisconsin.
The whole valley here was Democrat for years and years, and here the last 5 or 6 years, it has evolved into red.
West Virginia's turn from deep blue to solid red happened fast, all while hospitals struggled to stay open, classrooms emptied out, and opioids were pumped into these hills. Then came Trump, who promised to turn back the clock.
Cole is... Bro, all he had to do was put on that fucking stupid hat. That's all it took! All he had to do was put on the fucking mining hat, and it was like, this is our dude! God damn it! I'm trying so hard.
Coming back, clean coal is coming back. 100%.
Donald Trump says he's going to bring back jobs to Appalachia, to the coal mining areas.
Yeah, they may do it.
You can see President
do it,
Trump's
that's
bringing
all
in
it
all kind
takes.
of industry. There's going to be jobs up the kazoo.
Oh,
Look,
no.
Why is Trump president? It's not complicated, in my view.
No, it's
The
not.
Democratic Party was about protecting the status quo and tinkering around the edges.
Yeah.
You know, we promise you we're not going to do anything bold. We're very bipartisan. We're going to work with the business community. We love billionaires. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And Trump comes along and says the system is broken.
Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why
Bro, he was like, I broke it. He literally told Hillary Clinton that the fucking, when she said he cheats on his taxes, he's like, why shouldn't I? God damn it. Ah, fuck. Okay.
alone can fix it.
Yeah. And you know what? He's right. The system is broken.
He was honest about that.
Now, his solutions only make it worse.
Oh,
Trump,
fuck me.
for all his promises, has not brought the coal industry back. But with the big beautiful bill, his signature piece of legislation, he made his mark on West Virginia. It's estimated that more than 50,000 West Virginians will be cut from Medicaid.
Yep.
At least 7 hospitals in the state are at risk of shutting down.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I can hear that and say, that's fucking sad, man.
As many as 84,000 people will lose access to food assistance because of this bill.
So in this bill, Trump's big, beautiful bill, why do you think they cut Medicaid? To save government money so that, what?
They can give tax to their donors.
Exactly. It's not only $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%, it's a huge tax break to large corporations as well.
So why do they need to have a tax break?
All right.
I
Now
could use
you're
a tax
asking
break.
me-
I mean, I'm being real. I know I pay like 26% taxes.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I could use that money.
Look, these people on top are not nice people. They want more and more. They don't have $1 million. That's chump change.
Yeah.
And we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in some case.
When you live here, it feels like a poor country.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
I mean, when you say we're the wealthiest, like you said that several times yesterday, and I was like, is it true though? Because like,
That's a very good point.
yeah.
In aggregate, that's what, look, if we're sitting here and I'm worth $1 billion and all of you are broke, you add it all together, you divide it, we're very wealthy, right?
Yeah, and you know why? We're the wealthiest country because of GDP. GDP is your production. We are the wealthiest country because we produce the most, because we are the most valuable country because we consume the most. We are the only reason that the United States of America has anything at all to be proud of is because of working class Americans. It's fucking insane. This is like Jerry Jones getting fucking all of the props for the Dallas Cowboys. Not that they should get any props nowadays. Fly, Eagles, fly. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, what does it take for people to wake up and understand that everything that they've done, they can be proud of? That you can say to yourself, yeah, we started off bad. We started off embarrassing. Our history is shameful. But we came back big. But we didn't come back big because of billionaires. We came back big because of us.
We're all worth $100 million.
Crazy.
But I got $1 billion and you got nothing. That's America.
Fucking crazy.
And if I say that I think the United States should do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to all people as a
just
human
to start.
right. Are you going to think I'm a communist and a terrible person?
Yes.
I think if people listen, if you talk the way that you did, and you're so reasonable, like they've painted you in a bad light, and it actually makes me very angry because you see things and you believe it. I'll just be honest, I haven't really seen you talk before. I haven't really I don't follow politics that much. And so the last couple days before this, I started watching some of your speeches and I started watching your interviews, and I was shocked. I was like, oh.
Not as bad as they had told you, huh?
This is not how he's portrayed in the media, right?
We're told that the biggest divide in America is between left and right. But Bernie came here to flip that story on its head.
I think that whether you're in rural West Virginia or in Burlington, Vermont, you got the same exact issues. And I think we don't let people divide us up. We got to come together to fight for all of us.
Over 100 years ago, they called us rednecks because striking workers from all different races wore red bandanas around their necks as they fought and died for respect and a living wage. That history was mostly erased from our textbooks, but it never went away. It's still here, scattered all across the state.
It's only going to be there for about 6 more months until Trump gets a hold of those exhibits. Just a heads up.
If you know where to look.
My grandfather fought at Blair Mountain.
Your grandfather fought at Blair Mountain?
Yes.
What do you think this country at this moment needs to learn from your grandfather who fought at Blair Mountain?
Mm-hmm. Well, you just can't stand and let them step on you. You got to get up and fight.
So that is what our struggle is about, is to take on the greed of these people and say, you know what? You cannot and will not have it all.
Bernie Sanders is 84 years old. He's not running for president. But maybe what he's after is way bigger than one election.
How do we get the corporate wing of the Democratic Party, who is just as guilty of taking money from billionaire causes, to embrace a progressive working class agenda, because it's about time?
What's your name?
Max.
You're going to lead it, Max. Look, this state was once one of the strongest Democratic states in the country. And I think people gave up on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party gave up on them. So take it back. Don't ask, take it.
You have been to how many Bernie rallies now?
3.
And over what period of time did that take place?
2 days. The first night was just real eye-opening for me. It was like a whole mind shift of my whole belief system of how we could come together as a people.
Yeah.
We all want our kids to have a safe place to live. We all want our kids to have food. We all want our kids to have health care. There's no difference. We all need to fight together.
Yeah.
Because if we're fighting each other, we're not going to ever get anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Did you expect to walk out of here with a shirt?
I did not expect to walk out of here with a shirt.
That is fantastic. And, you know, that's the thing, is that it really isn't. It's you know, the thing that makes the left great, and oftentimes also makes the left very hard to be a part of, is diversity. It's diversity of thought. It's diversity of culture. It's, you know, diversity of planning. There's a lot that goes into it. And I remember this meme, and it said, what is it? It's like people that are new to the left, something like, or what is it? People that are offended by the left are weak because people on the left are offended by the left, and we just deal with it all the time. and it's something to that point. I probably messed it up, but you get my point. It's like, that's actually what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have, like, when we talk about debate, I think people mistake what you see on the internet nowadays, and you think that's debate. That's not debate. You should have healthy debate. You should have people within the left that can criticize people like Chuck Schumer, people like Hakeem Jeffries, people like Cory Booker, and still be able to say, like, I think that Hakeem Jeffries is too soft. But if I spoke to Hakeem Jeffries and he said, look, man, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro getting you universal health care. I'm pro-union. I'm pro-immigrant. And here, let me prove it to you by showing you the evidence of all of these things. And he showed me votes. Let's say that. I know all of you guys are in disbelief right now that these things exist. But if, let's say he did, hypothetically speaking, guys, come with me down this fantasy path that he said, let me show you the evidence of my votes on these situations and how I tried to make this happen for you. I could still agree that Hakeem Jeffries is too soft and not the person for the moment. And at the same time, still agree that I still have the foundational belief that Hakeem Jeffries does. Now, when it comes to things that are very important to me, and that is my wife and my daughter having access to healthcare, seeing people given a chance to come into this country and provide their families with a good life and be productive parts of our society. There are places that I can disagree with you guys and still understand that we are still fighting for the same cause. And that means at certain times you're going to have to look at, like that lady who said, I voted for Trump twice, but I listened to Bernie at 3 different, rallies. And I have to tell you, he changed my mind. And you're going to have to look at her and say, welcome aboard. Because you don't do this by yourself. You don't. It isn't you versus them. It is us versus the fucking elite, upper class, ultra wealthy pieces of garbage that have chosen to do what they've done. And not every person that has money is a bad person. I don't believe that either. I think that there is context for every situation, and that each situation should be judged based off of that context. However, I do have a video where orcas destroy a boat. Because that's how I wanted to finish this show. Because we can all get together and agree. Whether you're right or you're left or anything else, it's like Free Luigi and orcas destroying boats. We're all on the same page with that one, all right? This is one we can all agree on. Let's see here. This shit is amazing. Okay, how do I get it? There we go. How did I get up there? I want you guys to see this before I go. This will be the last video.
Heart-stopping video, a pod of orcas swarms a tourist sailboat, ramming the vessel repeatedly. Circling the boat, carrying 5 people over the weekend.
I just want to point out how dumb our society has become. This woman has literally got her phone out. She's got her phone out.
About 5 miles.
And is fucking videotaping the orcas smashing the boat.
Swarms a tourist sailboat, ramming the vessel repeatedly.
It's kind of amazing. She almost fell over.
5 people over the weekend, about 5 miles off the coast of Portugal. In video shared by the Portuguese nautical center Terra Incognita, you can see the crews start to panic, and the boat eventually goes under, the bow tipping into the water and sinking. The Portuguese Navy says all 5 people were safely rescued without injury. And later that day, the Navy says,
Killer Whales 2028. That's all I'm saying. This is a movement we can... Look, I've got my movement, no tax on tits, okay? Because everybody likes boobies. Women do. Gay people do. Straight people do. Okay? White, black, Latino, doesn't matter. No tax on tits. Orcas 2028, okay?
another incident with the same pod of orcas.
That's right, they're fucking
Over the last 5
menaces.
years, hundreds of orca run-ins have been recorded, mostly here off the coast of Portugal and Spain. The encounters can be alarming.
They are the top predator of the ocean. Literally, it's as though Tyrannosaurus Rex has got its eye set on you.
But experts say they're not targeting humans. The orcas often sink their teeth into boat rudders, getting pulled along, but rudders aren't designed for that kind of force.
The orcas are hitchhiking. Oh, that is amazing. Nah, I don't believe that. That sounds like some fucking propaganda from the ultra elite right there. They know what's going on. Those orcas are doing what we should all be doing. Those orcas are showing human beings how much of humanity are a bunch of fucking feckless cowards, okay? That's what those orcas are saying. Those orcas are saying to everybody in America, look at you, you punk-ass bitches, watch us sink this boat. That's what they're saying.
They're not out consciously doing
We're getting clowned. We're getting clowned by the orcas.
harm to boats, but it is a behavior that is causing harm ultimately.
Iberian orcas are critically endangered. Scientists say the population number fewer than 50. Orcas are the largest member of the dolphin family. They can grow 32 feet long and weigh 6 tons, living as long as 90 years.
That's one fat-ass orca.
Back in May of 2023, a sunset sail dramatically interrupted by a pod of orcas, destroying the rudder, piercing the hull. The trend started back in 2020.
Come on, you can't tell me that orca coming up and doing that. That's talking shit.
And scientists still don't know exactly why.
I think the reality here is they are targeting boats, and it seems to be a play behavior engaged by young males.
Sorry.
But it's behavior that has gotten out of hand.
So, I mean, just the way this dude is talking about it. The behavior is getting... They're orcas, dog!
Ollie, do we know why that area in particular is seeing...
It's because it's their set, bro. You can't be fucking... You know, you ain't from there. Don't cruise through.
these incidents, or at least seems like more of them?
Yeah, Craig, that seems to be the one thing that scientists do know. So they say this pod is following the food. They spend the winter in the Atlantic near northern Spain. And then as you saw on that map in our piece, they come down around Portugal and head into the Mediterranean for the summer. And they're following the bluefin tuna. And that is why all these encounters, all of these run-ins are on this coastline because it's on their migration route. And now in September, they're beginning that same trek back to the Atlantic Ocean. Craig?
All right.
I mean, really, to be honest, it's just because the orcas are gangster. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. All right, guys? It's because the orcas have bigger balls than we will ever have here in America. We're scared to do it right. Meanwhile, the orcas are actually out there fighting the good fight. Okay? I bet you those orcas fucking... I bet they voted for Bernie. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, well... I guess I'll finish with this because my time's almost up. And then it is Vasora right after me. A much better show. You guys don't have to... listen to a soulless, angry ginger all night long. You've got Vasora coming in to save the day. I will say this is that, you know, we finished with talking about Bernie, but the original point stands, and that is, you know, I started doing all this stuff not to do politics. I hate politics. I can't stand politics. It feels gross. Makes me want to fight people. I am not emotionally stable enough for this job. But I did it because, like, I wanted to, like, mock absurdity. Because I thought that, like, what we were doing was going down this path to, like, embracing this ideology of stupidity. And, you know, I'm a person, somebody asked me this. I'll finish with this. Somebody asked me this on one of my videos. He said, Brave New World or 1984? And I said, to read or to suffer through? Because I wasn't sure what he meant. And he said, good question. How about both? And my answer was, you know, the funny thing about that is that I read 1984 and Brave New World back to back. Because if you do that, you get kind of 2 points of view. You get to see what can happen through authoritarianism and punishment, and you can also see what happens through authoritarianism and reward. For those of you who haven't read Brave New World, I won't spoil it for you, but, you know, the idea of Brave New World is that, you know, we have genetically modified human beings to be happy in the jobs that they fulfill. So if you're a person that does labor, then you're not very intelligent. They've used like a CRISPR type thing to make it so that way you don't find any kind of unhappiness in being just a low labor person. And everybody carries around a pocket full of Soma, which is pretty much Xanax. Aldous Huxley was very, very prescient on calling exactly where we would be as a society. And, you know, so I said, my answer was, to be honest with you, Brave New World did end with more hope than 1984 did. So I would say suffering through Brave New World probably better than 1984. But I thought 1984 was a better book. It was written better and it flowed better. But the real question, and the question that we face today in America, you know, is really a question of multiple different paths. And they're all dystopian unless people decide to become better educated, to stop playing into the bullshit, to stop clicking and viewing clickbait and getting into ridiculous rabbit holes. Is that we're literally faced with a smorgasbord of dystopia. We have 1984, we have The Handmaid's Tale, and we have Idiocracy. And at this point, Idiocracy is our best hope. Unless we fucking do something about it. So don't let him cancel Jimmy Kimmel. Don't let him cancel Stephen Colbert. Don't let him take away the people in this culture that are finding ways to speak up against tyranny with humor, because without it, all you have is despair. All right, guys. Remember, we'll see you next. All right, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I'll be on Saturday.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. I hope you're all doing well today. Probably not, considering we're all living